already. We think these Fit Pro connections are fun, they're informative, they keep us connected. Fitness professionals want to stay connected in whatever way we can. If we can't be together in person, if we can't hug, if we can't work out together at a conference or at a gym. Of course, our gyms are opened up in phases, but then at least over these past few months, we've been able to see each other's faces and hear each other, and just the feeling is just so great and so positive. And we as fitness professionals are positive people, and we need to remain positive and pass that love and positivity to everybody else. So keep on doing that. And again, use the chat if you have any questions. So welcome to the panel. Charlene Green, you want to raise your hand, Charlene? There she is right there. Charlene Hi. Charlene is a national trainer for Tivity Health's Silver Sneakers program with over 15 years of experience in the fitness and wellness industry. She has developed and implemented numerous programs for corporate wellness fitness centers and in continuing care communities for all levels of care. There's lots of more things on her bio, but I'm going to keep it a little bit short. I thought, a lot of us work with older adults, and I really wanted to get somebody from Silver Sneakers on the call, and you and I chatted the other day, and you're going to find some fascinating things about what's going on with Silver Sneakers. So we're excited to hear about that. So thanks for taking the time, Charlene. Welcome.
Of course. Thank you.
And then Charlene Tate, want to raise your hand, Charlene? Charlene is one of our favorite FitnessFest attendees, always the first to register. She's also been doing FitnessFest blogs for us, and that's one of the reasons, besides being so educated and got so much experience, but she's been doing regular blogs for FitnessFest and just about what's been going on in her personal life and how things have been so interesting about walking out and seeing a few people and seeing more people. I'll let you talk about if that's part of your thing. So, just really good stuff. Charlene Tate has been a fitness professional for 25 years, currently instructing at Paradise Valley Community College in the health and fitness program. She enjoys motivating and educating others to help them achieve their fitness and wellness goals while keeping it fun and entertaining. Thank you, Charlene, for being on the call and being one of our speakers.
Thank you.
Sue Cagle. Sue Cagle, you want to give a little wave there. Sue is a certified in holistic nursing. Sue Cagle brought Healing Touch to Canyon Ranch, and those of you, I'm pretty sure we've all heard of Canyon Ranch, which is quite a I guess, would you say a luxurious, what would you say about Canyon Ranch?
It's a health and wellness resort that's very high end.
Okay.
And has just about anything you can think of offered there.
Yeah.
It's been around for, I think,
quite some time.
40 years maybe. It's under new ownership now.
Yes, and I think they're just opening up, yes?
Well, they were scheduled to open up on the 26th, but now with the spiking going on, I'm not sure, because our mayor just held down opening the city buildings. So I don't know what else might get held back a little bit till this slows out.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So brought Healing Touch to Canyon Ranch in 1996 and has shared her talent with thousands of guests. She is a graduate of the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee College of Nursing and has been practicing nursing over 30 years. She exercises a holistic and integrative approach to wellness, assisting guests in healing issues related to body, mind, emotions, and spirit. Sue has been, was one of our retreat speakers not this past March, but March before, and just has some really interesting information and research about habits. And so I definitely really wanted her on the call for this. She's also our retreat, a retreat speaker for our upcoming September 18th to the 20th retreat. So we're looking forward to that. Thank you for being on the call, Sue.
You're welcome. I'll be right back. 1 second.
Okay. All right. Good thing we're not starting with you, Sue. All right. So let me just check the chat real quick. Everybody can hear me okay. And Julia teaches Silver Sneakers. Yes. So,
great.
Yeah. how have your personal habits changed over the past 3 months? And I'm just going to start with that. Me personally, a couple things. Working from home at my dining room table. I've just taken over the whole thing. We have not been able to have family dinner since. But we have an office in our house, but something about it is just too small for me. So working from home is definitely been different. And grocery shopping. And I was saying to the girls before we got on the call, I mean, I used to really enjoy the art of planning and going to the grocery store by myself and just singing along the aisles and picking out things. And now I've been having groceries delivered more than going to the store. And I got to tell you, the last time I went a week ago, it was a 2.5-hour process. And I spent $300. So, and it's only the two of us. So I'm happy. And that's not even the point. It's like, I'm so used to now more of the delivery, and it takes so much time. I'm kind of enjoying it. And we'll talk about it a little bit more later. Am I being lazy, or is it just a new habit? Or am I realizing that I could probably spend my time better elsewhere? I don't know. So those are things that have changed for me. And working out at home, outside, and at my daughter's house rather than the gym. So we'll talk a little bit more about, will we go back to those? So next on that, how have your personal habits changed over the past 3 months? Charlene, why don't you tell us about your last few months?
Okay, so as Janice had mentioned, they asked me to do a blog, and I was a little apprehensive in the beginning. And then I kind of like, let's just take it as it comes. So I would have to say it was really interesting. Because you asked me to do the blog, it actually heightened a lot of my senses. So when I would leave the house, I was a bit more observant on what was going on as I was walking around my neighborhood. In the beginning, I would walk around. I couldn't even get eye contact from some people. It was kind of crazy. And, you know, my personality, I'm like, hi, how's it going? Just to make sure they were acknowledged, even though they were across the street, and I wouldn't get anything. I saw a lot of people, different ages, and then it just, you know, it kept going on. And the one thing that now this has stuck with me is that I am an early riser, so I was up at 4:30 this morning before the heat, but I do go to bed at like 8:30 at night. So, however, as time has changed, I've noticed more people started to open up. There were still, like, I would be walking down the street and then someone would be coming my way. We were both acknowledging each other, and then there's that distance. So we were both keeping, you know, so that was going on. I would have to say that things started to change probably a month and a half into it, where I wasn't getting the distance anymore. People were walking right next to me. So there was no regard for your bubble, your space. I did see a lot of the same people. I've actually made a couple new friends, which has been nice. And again, but we're still keeping the distance. But it was just the observation of some of the older population keeping their distance. I would also notice younger populations, and they were just all clumped together. So it could be a generational thing, other, you know, regarding, again, every population is taking this pandemic differently. Some people are very heightened, some are very lax on it. It just depends. But yeah, it's been interesting, and I have currently managed to stick to my morning routine, even though it's been a little warm. I'm now riding my bicycle, and I'm seeing the same people. So it's been, I have to say, that's been the one positive, is that I feel like this has almost been a gift to myself, because for most of us being instructors, we give so much of ourselves. I'm always making sure my students are taken care of, you know, their posture, how's it going? And now for the very first time, I'm actually taking care of myself, getting up in the morning, going out and getting that done. So, and I'm hopefully, from where I work, we will be home the rest of the year. So this is going to be, this might be a hard habit to break, but I truly embraced it. And especially, again, seeing what's going on in my neighborhood. I don't see as many people, but here in Phoenix, the weather is getting really warm. It was 87 degrees at 5:30 in the morning. So
Exactly.
it's making it a little harder. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Sue, you want to go next?
So my life has been not one of routine at all. I retired from Canyon Ranch January 15th, and I had about a month of setting up some really good routines of what's this going to look like now that I'm not in a day job. Doesn't mean I'm not working. I'm still very busy, but not doing that. And then I had a family member in the hospital right when COVID hit. And we weren't sure if it was COVID or not. So we had all that upheaval. And then I had to start working for the family business to help with that. So I really, my routines keep changing and changing and changing. And I'm having to be real fluid with that. But one of the things I'm really working to keep somehow doing is movement, watching what I'm eating. You know, it's 107, trying to make sure that I'm drinking more water. I'm in Tucson, it's hot. And, but also, like, I'm not a TV watcher, so I've been reading more. Those are some of the things that I'm like working to, because I'm not working so much for the family business now, putting back into place some kind of routine of key things, whether at the same time every day or not, to help me out. I don't go out much because I just don't want to expose myself to the spike that's going on. I also spend a little bit of time with family in the backyard at my daughter's so I can see my grandkids. So moving forward, it's going to be a matter of just kind of small steps to putting things back in place with the routines I want to carry forward. Also been doing a whole lot of learning I was talking to Janice about, because in order to reinvent myself, I do hands-on healing and I can't. So I've been doing distance healing and making videos about that, and putting together a Zoom class for a course I'm supposed to do in Omaha. So a lot of creativity, which to me is a really good habit, to keep thinking out of the box and how am I going to do this and how can I do this differently rather than think, well, I can't do anything anymore. So those are some of the things I've been doing.
Awesome. Thank you, Sue. Charlene, how about you?
Well, for me, there are many things that seem to be exactly the same, and then some things that are very different. I work from home all the time in my role with Tivity Health, with Silver Sneakers. I'm a national trainer. So I mainly develop the curriculum that you see and shoot video for that curriculum. And a lot of the stuff I do is from home. So that aspect, and my husband works from home too. So that didn't change. I do not enjoy the grocery store as much as you do. So I have had the delivery of my groceries for a year now, and I really enjoy that. So that didn't really change much. I don't go to the store but once a week or two. But what changed for me is the aspect that now I am doing a lot of streaming video from my home. So during the week, I teach classes, virtual classes to Silver Sneakers members. And we also film, all of the trainers film short Facebook videos from our home. So there's a lot of technology that I've had to get up and running on, a lot of glitches, a lot of fun stuff with microphones and Zoom. And so it's been a huge learning curve, but I think it's very valuable. I think it's not going away, but I hope that the amount that I'm doing right now will probably see that go down as gyms reopen. But I think there'll always be a demand for the virtual. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's something that we can all use going forward to reach more people. Personally, my things like my fitness regimen, because I think my stress level has gone up a little bit during this time. And one of the things I specialize in is stress management, right? So I find myself moving a lot more. Like when I'm really stressed, I'll get up and I'll take a walk. So I get like 15,000 steps some days. But yeah, just because I'm trying to, that's how I'm trying to manage my stress is, you know, because I've also had my mom was in the hospital. It's really unusual this time when you have things like that going on. And my daughter was in the emergency room for something. You can't, everything has changed. So it kind of, how to deal with these new situations. You have to really take care of yourself to take care of others.
You absolutely do. You definitely need the self-care. I'm curious how you, because once I'm sitting down at my computer, I don't I don't typically get up, but that's great that you can. How do you force yourself? Do you like give yourself a little taser gun on your butt or something to get up?
Yes. Well, honestly, I have become, I have a Fitbit, and it boops me, it buzzes 10 minutes till every hour if I haven't had a certain amount of steps. And I've tried to pay attention to that, so I at least get the minimum amount of steps by walking in my hallway or something like that, because I write so much. That's my job. It was my job. My job's whatever they need right now. But mostly what I did before was develop curriculum and write. It'd be 3-4 hours, and I'd look up and I'd be, oh my gosh, it's 3-4 hours. And so I find my brain works so much better if I take 5 minutes
breaks,
every hour.
Yeah.
And I breathe and I walk a few steps. It doesn't have to be a big deal. It could be 200 steps. Sit back down. Yeah. So I think this has helped me. This buzz, I always look down and go, what's that buzz? Because it could be a text, right?
So you really do get buzzed. Okay.
You have 231 steps out of 250 you need to take.
Yeah, you got to move it.
Honest.
Oh, that's cool. Mm-hmm. All right, thank you. Okay, what new routines are you going to stick with, and what might you not go back to once the pandemic is over? Charlene?
So along the same lines as Charlene, I had gotten, my Fitbit actually died, so I now have an Apple Watch. And the Apple Watch cannot be nice. It can be mean, where if I haven't done specific movement during the day, it'll buzz me, and it's like, you're usually a lot further than you are. And I'm like, oh, that's just not, oh yeah,
it's rude.
It says you're a lot further because it has free rate. Yeah, or you can still do it. So that's helped me a lot. I've also incorporated, coincidentally, right before everything started, I actually spent the money. I got a brand new office desk, and one of the girls referred me, and it's the Vivo, but it lifts. So I now have that with a Naboso mat. So I stand, and I have found that I am now standing more and sitting, because again, on our Apple Watch, you get points for standing. So I've been doing that. And along the same lines with Sue, I've actually taken time for myself, and I've been reading. And again, a lot of it is, I always experiment on my husband. He doesn't know what's going on, but I experiment on him a lot of times, especially when it comes to habits. So like I'd run out before, and I was talking to Sue. So The Power of Habit, this one is just, that's a great book. And then the last one I just finished was Atomic Habits. And then the other one I got done was What Motivates Me. So I'm drawn to these types of books. Plus, I try to do what I can, because I've had a lot of students reach out to me. One of my older students, love her to death, she's in her late 60s. And so she was struggling. And she goes, I just don't know what to do. She goes, I sat on the couch, and she goes, I downed a whole jar of peanut butter, and I just couldn't get off the couch. And I'm like, well, let's take things one at a time. So it's taking those small steps. Again, I've got my watch to help me. And again, we have to do what works for us best. And I've told everybody, I'm like, don't overwhelm yourself. If I'm going to get up, it's like, just get up, take a walk to the mailbox, come in, you've accomplished one thing for today. Then maybe, try to do it for a few days and then add on to it. So it's been one of those, but I know that my habit of getting exercise in the morning, now standing while I'm working, that helps. And I can't recommend the Apple Watch, because that one, you're a lot further than you are. So that's helped me quite a bit. My kitty. Oh, there we go. Okay. Wow.
All right, Charlene, thank you. How about you, Sue?
Well, one of the habits that I've developed is eating ice cream on a fairly regular basis. It's a habit I don't want to keep. It's not something I normally do, but it's just been hot, and it's sort of like if I get frustrated enough through my day, I might have some. And so, I've gotten into some bad habits. I think it's more kind of a stress reliever, but it's also really cooling because I'm just real tired of being hot. And so that's not a good one. But again, what I'm working on doing, because my routines have been shifting around so much, is Charlene started to talk about small steps to change. There's a book called, I wrote it down. Actually, I put it on the chat when I wrote it
Let's
down.
put it in again because it was like way in the beginning. Well, I guess
Okay, I'll type it in a minute. But
and yeah,
small,
Charlene can put yours in too.
Yeah.
One Small Step Can Change Your Life, The Kaizen Way by Robert Maurer. And Kaizen is actually a Japanese principle that got pulled into the United States and used and became more frequent. Robert Maurer teaches about taking something that you want to make a change for and breaking it into bite-sized pieces. So I look at, okay, I've got to regroup now, I'm not working 10 to 12-hour days anymore. I have time again. So my first thing is to make sure that I'm getting up in the morning and drinking some more water, because it's dehydration time here. And then, looking at, okay, when I was working all those hours, it was very physical. So I was having 12, 13,000 steps a day. And now I'm doing more computer work. So how can I get that movement in? And each day it's not like trying to do every single thing or do my breathing or my meditation, but like Charlene was talking about, or Charlene, one thing a day to start putting the habit back in place of what I want to move forward. And when I do those things, then I want the ice cream, which is helping me get away from that. So I have a cat here as well who's
Animals, kids, yeah.
Yeah, they think, well, there must be something going on here. We better jump in. So for me, it's kind of a readjusting of habits.
Robert.
And how do I want to move forward and keep those things in place? Oh, you've got one coming up too. It's a cat party.
Yep, it's cat party.
Yeah.
All right, Charlene, how about you?
Well, I think that I've always exercised on a regular basis, but I'm making an effort to be very consistent on that in regard to where I would before really like to do Tabatas or runs or things like that. Now it makes more sense to me to take walks just because of that. I think all of us have a certain amount of stress. And not that I've been talking about stress, but not that I'm a super stressed person. I'm usually pretty calm. But it's just the time that we're going through, that things are heightened, things are happening. I find that really high intensity workouts right now boost my cortisol a little too much for me. So I found that I have been getting such value in longer walks, that are not including Tabatas and a lot of running every single day. So I think that's something that has shifted, and I feel wonderful for doing that. It's changed kind of how I feel. I still keep up my strength training and stuff, but I've seen a real effect on that during this time. So I'm enjoying that. It's interesting that I read a lot. I'm back in school full time, even though I work full time at 2 different jobs. So I've been reading a lot too. And the book that I just finished is called How Not to Diet by Dr. Michael Greger. So on whole food, plant-based, lots of over 10,000 studies in there. And I am a study nerd. So that just suited me great because I love looking up all the studies that I'm interested in and how food works. So those are kind of some of the things that I have kind of modified during this time. And I take a little bit more time for self-care, especially in the morning. I give myself time to breathe and to meditate and to read first thing.
Great. I too think that I'm taking a little bit more time in the mornings to enjoy my coffee on the patio. Definitely got to get out there by 6 a.m. or it's already 90 degrees. And like I've discussed on our calls before, what has really become a habit and really helped me stay sane during this period is working out in small groups with, now it's really just my daughter and I, but we were doing yoga in the park or we were doing workouts in my backyard, and it was more routine and more regular than before that. And I almost think that because it started happening and we were able to do it, social distance and outside, this is of course, remember it was March and April when it wasn't so hot, that I got to get that social connection and that people connection that I realized, oh my gosh, I really need people. So it kept me sane, and it wasn't just the exercise, but was the nature, and it was the being able to be with people. So I've been able to keep up that on a pretty regular basis, even more so than going to the gym. When things settle down, with our numbers, I guess I don't know yet, but I think I probably would like to get back to the gym and get that organized group fitness, because I do love that organized group fitness, and that community and that tribe and that accountability. Well, the morning things for me have been accountability too. But so yeah, let's move on to our third question, which is, how have older adults been? I got everybody on that last one, right? Yeah, I think I did. What new routines are you going, oh, no, sorry. How have older adults been coping with the isolation? What habit changes have you seen? And Charlene, we're gonna start with our Silver Sneakers woman now. And like I said, we were talking the other day and I was just fascinated by what you told me. So go ahead and start that off, Charlene.
Well, I've been working with older adults for a very long time. And I have found through my experience, it's been with Silver Sneakers, but it's also been as a campus director to a large retirement community, all levels of care, from independent living to memory care, to assisted living, to skilled nursing. And what I've seen, especially over the last year or so, last few years, is that older adults are resilient. They're resilient, they're strong, and they're ready to learn. I used to teach technology classes, and they would come in and they would be, oh my goodness, I don't even know how to which way do I hold this iPad? Where's the on button? How do I close program? And then we got them using Uber, and they were ready to go. So older adults, don't count them out when it comes to technology, and I think a lot of people count them out. They're resilient, they're strong, and they learn. For instance, we're doing these, we have about 25 classes a week, I'd say, live stream classes for Silver Sneakers members at silversneakers.com. Last week, one of the classes that I taught, sometimes they tell us how many people signed up and sometimes they don't, but there were over 1,100 people signed up for my class.
Wow.
They've learned Zoom. They've learned how to interact. And they're ready to work online. You think that they wouldn't be, but they are. I got some figures about, I would say it's about a month ago, because I was doing an interview for a local paper. And over a month ago, our Facebook page, Silver Sneakers Facebook page, had over 1.4 million hits for our live stream exercise classes that we do on Facebook Live twice a week. We used to do them 3 times a week. Over 1 million hits a month ago. That's crazy. The trainers, we do videos from home, little short, like I just finished a Tai Chi for beginners exercise, little 5-minute blurb. When they post those, I'm shocked. I look 20 minutes after they post them, there's 25,000 views on those. An hour later, there's 55,000 views. I'm just astounded at how our older adults are adapting to this time. And with my experience with my own parents who are older adults, I'm getting there too. But they're on it. They're ready. They have the new technology and they're learning. Some of them are computer instructors or professors from universities and colleges. Some of them have, they're lawyers and doctors. They know their stuff. So I'm very impressed with the resilience I see, the striving for community. They want to be together, even if it's virtual. They'll take it. And I'm just really inspired by how the older adults have reacted to the times right now. And I know that they could use more community and more help, because they are at risk for what's going on more than some of the others of us. But I'm just inspired by our older adults, I'll tell you.
Yeah, well, it's a very, very inspiring story, and it's just, I was so fascinated when you told me that. quite surprised too. Like you said, don't count them out. And I work with older adults in the pool, and I almost thought, I was like, oh, they can't do that. And so I need to give them more credit. And so I'm glad you said that, and I'll learn from that. I just started back teaching my water classes. I've had 2 so far, and I will tell you, they're back. They are back, and they are loving it. And yeah, they are very fierce, very resilient, like you said, and we're practicing social distance. And I personally think the chlorine is the safest place to be. So I think we're good. And we were keeping the communication up with them with short little videos, like you said, and not water ones, but little, just, and just keeping a communication with them via email, because they just did not want to lose that connection, and I did not want to lose that connection with them. And to be perfectly honest, and hopefully not one of my water aerobics students is on the call. I'm sure they're not, but like I said, okay, the new normal. I haven't gone all the way to Chandler to teach my class 2-3 classes in a row. Okay, I'm gonna go back every other week. As soon as I went back, I'm like, I have to stay. I can't leave these people. They love me. They need me. And I'd love to be needed and loved, I guess. So it's kind of an ego thing maybe too. But so they, it was great to be back. And again, it's great to hear that about your Silver Sneakers members and the groups and the technology, and that they're figuring it out. They're asking their grandkids probably, but whatever they're doing, they're figuring it out. So does Sue or Charlene, do you have anything to say about older adults coping with isolation?
Sure. So I have friends who are older. One is a doc who has now, she called me the other day. So her thing is she's calling somebody every day to try and stay connected, because socialization is important for her. And she is a movie buff. And so there's a place in town called The Loft where they have a variety of different movies. So she'll call up a friend and say, hey, why don't we both go on the platform, sign up and watch this movie together, or, a couple hours apart or whatever, and then meet up afterwards and chat about it, talk about the movie. So that's one way she's coping. She also, because she can't do her in-person medical visits, she's been talking for a long time about wanting to learn telemedicine and getting all the technology and all that. She, I think she might be like 74, 75. And so she took it on, and she's learned how to do the telemedicine, and is realizing that a lot of her clients are in Yuma. She's in Tucson. So for those of you who don't know, it's like on the other side of the state. But she works with children with developmental disabilities and autism. They don't have to do the 2-hour car ride to come up there. She gets to see them in their home environment. And she's finding it's actually working a whole lot better for her in her practice for a lot of the things she needs to have the kids to do. She can get the parents to have the child do the activity in the home where they're more comfortable and watch it. So she's adapting with the times that way. And my 90-year-old stepmother, who is a go-getter and wants to be out, she goes to Curves, by the way, 6 days a week when she could, okay? Her family lives so she's got a sister who's 102. Also very social, and just needs to get out of the house. I said, then just go get in the car and drive, take a ride, go drive around somewhere. And that's working for her, to just get out of the house. I have some other friends who are a little bit older, and we'll get together and go for a walk across, apart, a socially distanced walk the dogs or something like that, to have time for some connection. Because the longer we go with this, the harder it is to not physically be in the energy of other people. So those are the few of the things that some of my older friends are up to.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sue. Charlene, anything?
Yeah, because my mother she's considered an older adult, and I know she was feeling it as well. And along with the classes that I teach, my classes over at the college, they range from 18, and my oldest is 72. So just with, again, like Janice you said, because I'm a people person, I like that. I do a word of the week every week. And with some of my older adults, I do have their addresses. So it's probably, I love writing. I really do. So what I end up doing is I will write a card in the mail, hey, how's it going? Just want to check in. And my girlfriend kind of tipped me off. So what I do is I actually will go to the store, buy tea, and then I'll put a couple tea bags in their card and just say, here, relax. Maybe we can get together in the future, have some tea, but just something, you know, so there's a connection. And now I'm actually getting correspondence back in the mail from 5 of my seniors. So now I have pen pals, and I know that that's helping because some of them are struggling. Some of them are struggling with connecting to Zoom. Some of them keep asking me, when is the college going to open up again? When can we go back? And we're still working through some of the specifics like everybody else is. So it's very important because once that fitness center closed over at the college, the seniors were just not, you know, you have to have that one-on-one, and it's important. And I make sure that I call my mom, I see her, I FaceTime her every single day just to keep that interaction. It's just something small, you know, again, one small thing a day, and then that works.
Great, cool, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, question number 4. We'll start with Sue. Why do you think some people are resilient and some are just stuck? And before I get on with it, we were talking at the beginning of the call or before the call about, I'm sure you all know, and maybe it's you, but you know someone who is just maybe very, very fearful, maybe very, very anxious, overly anxious, and just really struggling. And when we say isolation, they're just like withdrawing and won't even, you know, stays in their pajamas all day. So, and just like, why is that? And then you've got the other extreme too, but it's just like, why do you think some people are resilient and some people are stuck? And Sue's going to also talk a little bit about, you know, the habits that we talked about. Go ahead, Sue.
So one of the things that Janice had asked me originally is, what's the science behind habits? And I said, well, let me think about it and do a little research. And then an article came across through my online whatever that talked about what the question specifically was, why are people in the beginning being so careful about wearing masks and gloves and sanitizing, and a lot of people are becoming really lax. So it said that physiologically in the brain, those kinds of behaviors are linked to the amygdala, and the amygdala in the brain has to do with fight or flight and fear. So in the beginning, we had all kinds of fear, right? And people were much more compliant. The way the brain works is that it desensitizes over time, so that that activity for some people goes away. For other people, they still stay very connected to that fear base of linking in whatever that habit is. Like you're told, well, if you don't exercise, you're going to have a heart attack and diabetes. So you start out doing it and then you get lax about it. And well, you didn't get a heart attack or diabetes. And so then slowly your brain desensitizes and you lose that urge. The same thing's happening with the COVID and the masks and being socially distant. People are forgetting because they didn't get sick. They don't know anybody who got sick. They see the numbers going up, you know, in the newspaper, but it didn't happen in their neighborhood. So they must be okay. So there are those people who can roll with change. I remember my dad, you know, when I was a kid, I was like, I was resistant to change. And he used to literally hit me on the shoulder and say, roll with it, Susie, roll with it, over and over, you know, through a year of my life or whatever, where I was getting more resistant to things. And so I've been trained to roll with it. It's like, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen here? Move on. It's also part of my nursing, you know, background is, you know, being able to roll with it and move fast. But there are other people who their personality is such that they're just much more needing to be in control. And for them to be in control helps decrease their anxiety. And it may be that there are certain behaviors that they know that if they continue to do that, then they're safe. And they don't change as easily as other people. So is it that they're stuck? I don't think so. I think part of it is just brain chemistry. I mean, it can be the far extreme of obsessive compulsive disorder where that actually supposedly is triggered in order to keep anxiety down and have a sense of control in their lives. It can be genetic, can also be situational. So, so that's kind of the science behind where some people are more resilient and able to go with the flow, and other people where it's just really hard. And it's not a judgment one way or the other. It's just how they're wired. But what can we then do with friends or family? I had a bunch of calls initially from people who wanted distance healing touch, and it was all about those who really felt a need to have more control in their lives were freaking out. Their anxiety was high. They were sleeping with the lights on. They were not sleeping. They were terrified. And over time, that's starting to settle down a bit. So does that help?
Yeah, that's great. And then we realized at the beginning of the call that that's because I'm really bad. I can't stand change. And you kind of made me realize that that's one of the struggles about, you know, me and change. And I may be a little bit of a control freak, I think.
So interesting. I'll make one little quick point. One of the gals I worked with Healing Touch, we did 2 sessions. And what she came to realize was she felt totally out of control. And so she was really hanging on to being hypervigilant about as early on COVID. But what we really focused on is, what are you in control of? What kinds of things are you doing to be in control? You're not letting people in your house, you're keeping your hands washed, you're being very careful and using a mask if you go out at all, or you're getting your groceries in. These are all things that you're doing in order to stay safe. And so it's not that you're out of control and that things are all in a mess. There are a lot of things that are already in place. And so to focus on that and be able to focus on the positive and what are you doing to keep yourself safe, I think also helps you be more resilient.
Yes, excellent. Charlene, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Well, I think that when it comes to resilience, I love what Sue has said so far. When it comes to resilience, there are a lot of factors that play into that. One of them would be optimism and kind of cultivating optimism and gratefulness. And I think how those contribute is that it's really easy when the fear center is activated and you're high stress and you're pumping adrenaline and cortisol, even over that long period of time, it puts the focus on you and what's happening right now and your fear, and it can spiral. So I think spending some time in mindfulness practices where, you know, mindfulness is not about forgetting and emptying your mind, right? So it's about bringing focus to something. So maybe spending some time, a few minutes, focusing on what you're grateful for, the things in your life that you love or that the relationships, and optimism, writing lists. You know, there's so many little things you can do, but when it comes to mindfulness, I think, and some of the studies that I've read on resilience, that's some of the factors that contribute would be that the cultivating of optimism and kind of the gratefulness. If we can work on being mindful and thinking, it won't solve the whole problem today, but it cultivates that practice and that little by little, step by step, right? You can remember and come back to that experience of, oh yeah, I was remembering I'm so grateful for my relationship with my daughter. And when I think about that, this is what I visualize, and it brings this release and this release from the fear on a small scale.
Excellent, thank you. Charlene, anything?
To add to that, I think it's just being more mindful. And for me, it's with all of this going on, it's just being at peace with things and actually being in the moment. I've noticed that, yes, all of our lives are on fast forward. So now, yeah, my commute is from the bedroom to the kitchen, grabbing my coffee, into the office. Some days I do tend to work a little bit longer, but there's times where even when I'm working now, it's just the small things. Like I have 2 cats, and at any given time, one of them will lay underneath my desk. And it's just one of those nice things where it's just like, it's just the sound. Yeah, she's bugging me now. Just the sound of her meow, or just the small things. I'll let her go outside. And it's funny how just letting her go outside, roll around in the dirt, and then come back in. And then I'm just kind of like, I'm like sitting there and I'm like, and I'm enjoying the moment. I'm enjoying the wind blowing through my face, the sun, everything. Where if I was in the office, I wouldn't have that. So it is, I'm finding that I'm enjoying those moments that I didn't have before or we did have them. I just didn't take the time. And so I'm learning also to bring my stress level down, because again, we're all going through different, we still have stress. It's just a different type of stress, but it's just finding those little things. And again, if I truly believe if you have that good support system, I have a huge support system all day. My phone just goes off. It's like, hey, just want to wish you a nice day. And then I do the same thing. So there's about 5 of us that do that. And it's just really nice, you know, walking around, and I get that just thinking about you, sending. So yeah, I think that I'm able to handle it a little well. Like when I was talking to Janice earlier, we were talking about change. I bought a brand new clock, and it drove my husband nuts. He does not like change at all. And it had a little pendulum. He's like, that thing is going way too fast. It's driving me up the wall. And I had to hear about that for a week. Then the second week, he's like, I don't know. I don't like the color. I don't like the color. It's bugging me. It took us over a month for him to get used to a new clock in the house. So it's interesting. Again, I always say I experiment to see what's going to happen, where I can kind of roll with it. And then my husband, not so much. But again, personal experiences, if you've got that good support system, you know, again, just live in the moment, enjoy the peace.
I think if you really want to drive your husband completely crazy, like if we need to keep an eye on this situation, she might buy a cuckoo clock and like really make him go completely bonkers, right?
Exactly.
How could we how could we drive our partner crazy? Yeah. That's great. So we kind of we'll finish off with this. We kind of touched on it already, but if you three want to add a little more to it, what is a good piece of advice for someone struggling with the new normal? I think we gave a little bit about mindfulness and all that, but Charlene, you want to add any other advice to anyone struggling with the new normal?
I don't know. I think this is probably advice that I would give myself, is that anytime that I can serve others in some way, it really helps me with the new normal. So if I can spread anything good to those around me, that helps me to cope with the situation that's going on. So, you know, if I can go to a neighbor's house and say, hey, do you need anything at the store? You know, some older neighbors, or if I can, you know, if there's anything that I can do, it really helps me reach outside myself. And that's advice I give to myself.
Well, great. And I think we're all givers and servers, because I think most of us got in the fitness industry and the wellness industry because we like to serve and we like to help people. So I think that probably is good advice for all of us. So great. Sue, how about you?
So I look at what are the positive things that are coming out of this. You know, there are a lot of things that we can't do anymore, but where's the good? And for me, as you were mentioning about being of service, so I'm a service. That's who I am and what I do. And it's like, how can I be of service? How can I be of service? And what came to me as well, I can make a video on how to do distance healing. I was asked, hey, could you do something like this? So I did. And then as I'm going through editing, I'm like, well, why am I not doing distance healing? I can still help people. And now I have somebody in Canada and California and Colorado, and, you know, my family and friends and family in Wisconsin, which I have done in the past, but it's actually widened who I can serve. Just like Charlene was talking about, how many, you know, thousands of people are coming in on a video where otherwise you wouldn't have that opportunity to reach out to people.
Right.
And, you know, I've had this opportunity. I have an opportunity to talk to a retirement community in Seattle next week. To talk about healing touch and things they can do to help themselves. I'm teaching a Zoom class. I figured out how to do that for course 5 of healing touch, where otherwise those students wouldn't be able to graduate. It's 24 hours of Zoom. And so a lot of positive that I don't have to get on a plane and go to Omaha. I can teach it from here. They can all stay home. We can all stay safe, and they can still graduate. So it's that opportunity to reinvent yourself and to go, okay, so I can't do this, but what can I do? What can I still do? How can I do this differently? And somebody might make a comment and I go, oh, let me spin off that. Oh yeah, I could do that. And what else might you need? You know, you need some more videos on how to do self-care with healing energy kinds of things. So now I have a list of 5 more videos to make. Not getting paid for it. It's not about money for me with that. but it's an opportunity again to serve and get it out to how many thousands of people am I reaching that, you know, I may not have reached in another way. So that to me is exciting and it's positive and it's keeping me going and out of my pajamas, you know.
I love it. And I so agree. And we've talked about this on a couple other of the Fit Pro connections. This is the time to be positive and take opportunities, create opportunities, make opportunities, go for it. It's all different, but those of us who seek, the new word is pivot, by the way. Those of us who pivot, right? Who pivot, who, you know, serve others, make positive changes to our own lives, to our own business, and to others, are the ones who are going to come out of it in ways we never imagined could happen. And I know that is happening for me personally. And some of it's a little overwhelming and some of it's a little scary and crazy, but I see growth personally in many ways. And I think a lot of you who are on the call do as well. So it's exciting. I'm going to move on to you in just a second, Charlene, but since Sue Cagle, since I just had you, you were just talking about the healing touch, and not everyone probably knows the depths of what you do, but I just want to talk about your just for a minute or two about the role you have in the retreat we're doing, which is I think we're all going to need a retreat, a mind, body, spirit retreat. It's our 4th annual. It's in El Rancho Robles, which is between Tucson and Phoenix. It's in an amazing, out of the way ranch with just rolling right amongst the Catalina Mountains, rolling hills, all these places to do meditation and just to sit and do yoga. And Sue, you're going to be doing it. It's been so long since we've even talked about it that we kind of forgot about it.
In my folder, I know.
Okay. Right. So you're on Friday, it's September 18th to the 20th. And the first thing you're doing on Friday is Who Am I? And it's about personality profile. And then you're also just understanding who we are so that we can relate and talk to, well, you know it better than me, but talk to other people. And then you're also doing creating life balance. So is there anything else you want to share with what kind of experience they would have if they joined us at the Mind, Body, Spirit retreat in September?
I think it's an opportunity to really understand yourself better and how you interface with others, and you know, creating that balance in yourself, of course, is going to be positive no matter what. But it's a system that I went through at work, and it really helped me get a better understanding of myself. And I was in a leadership role at the time in my nursing department, my medical department. And we all did this. And then we all did it also in another unit that was part of Canyon Ranch to really help us understand who we are and how we interface and who we're interfacing with, so that communication can be much more fulfilling and people can be heard much better. It's fascinating. It was wonderful personal growth, which can also be used with professional situations as well.
Cool. Well, we're looking forward to that. I'm definitely, I do these retreats for myself and anyone else who wants to join me can come along. Charlene, anything you want to add to what is a good piece of advice for someone struggling with a new normal?
I would just say, like what we've been saying all along, just enjoy the moment, just be kind to yourself, be kind to others. The number one thing is patience. I think I know my patience has been tested a lot this time. Patience with myself. And again, like even with Charlene, like I also agree where some of the things that I used to do with FitnessFest, I now am doing more barefoot, more yoga, more meditation. And I'm finding that I'm receiving it a lot better than doing HIIT, than doing, you know, some of those hard HIIT, because that's what my body is screaming for right now. And I know that everybody else, when I'm doing my Zoom calls with my students, that's what they're wanting. They're wanting more meditation. So I think too, this is our new normal. It's been a positive. It's helping us be creative. It's helping us step out of the box, our little comfort zone of what we've been doing for such a long time. And now we are reinventing ourselves. And I think it's going to be great. I really do, as things transpire, and looking forward to FitnessFest in September. So that'll be really good. I need it now. But I think this is going to be interesting. And Janice, I love these calls. It's like I learned something new every single Friday. So thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, you bet. I love it too. I look forward to it every week. I remember the first week I was so nervous about the technology and everything, and that everything was going to go right. But it's just, I love seeing everybody. I love seeing the new faces, the new names, but the ones that come on every single week. We appreciate that. I appreciate that. And I'm glad that you like it too. Again, it's connection. So, and you know, I didn't introduce myself at the beginning. I guess I assume I usually do, but I'm like, I think I know everybody and everybody knows me. But if there's a couple of you who do not, I'm Janice Jakes, the owner of the FitnessFest Conference and Expo. And like Charlene said, we are doing our live event. Hopefully all will go well. We feel like they're good dates, September 24th to the 27th at the Sheraton outside of Phoenix, Arizona. It's Mesa, Arizona. So, you know, we got some better hotel rates, so that's good, $129 a night. So, so looking forward to that as well. I just really love the live stuff. You know, it's a different kind of connection that I personally really need. You know, supposed to go to IDEA in a few weeks. That's been canceled. So I think ours was going to be one of the first live ones that are back in operation. So let's just hope everything goes well for all of us in our state and our country and our world, of course, as far as our health and getting this thing under control. So, and don't forget, you know, I mentioned the retreat, September 18th to 20th. Tomorrow, and a few of you who are on the Zoom call are already signed up for it. So there is a great live stream event that will give you CECs. Tyler Valencia is just amazing about understanding YouTube and how it will help your business, how it will help you and your videos and all that. So there's still time to sign up. When I get back from happy hour, hopefully I won't have too many and I'll be able to take care of your registration. Maybe I'll make Joanna do it. So it's fitnessfest.org/livestream. Joanna, can you put that in the chat? Fitnessfest.org/livestream. It's 9 a.m. Arizona and Pacific time. It's going to be great. And he's got part 2 on the following Saturday. And this is exciting. I've had to cancel 3. I do an 8-hour live aqua certification, and I've had to cancel 3. And so I'm finally doing my first one in 2 weeks. It's June 27th in Chandler. And Joanna, maybe you could put that in the chat too, fitnessfest.org, you probably know, /aqua progressions. And what we're doing this time is we're doing 4 hours of online, and then I don't want to say we only have to be together for another 3 or 4 hours, but that'll maybe help people be comfortable about social distancing, but we'll be able to be in the chlorinated water. So that's coming up, Aqua Progressions, putting a complete program together. Next week, our next week Fit Pro Connection, we have it planned, and we've got Beat Boss. Beat Boss is in the house. Why don't you guys give yourselves a thumbs up? We're talking about teams and what makes a good team, and why is team Beat Boss so cool and so together. We've got a couple other teams. We've got Zumba. I'm hoping Shelly can be on the call. She just told me she was not sure if she could make it, but we've got Cheryl Wu and then Petra, who is like the VP of Zumba. I don't remember her exact title. So we've got a couple surprises for the team. Call next week, but you definitely want to check in. Every week we have a new access code. We've been doing 3 o'clock every Friday, so we're going to stick with it because it seems to be working for most people. So we look forward to that. So Fitness Fest, Aqua Progressions, live stream tomorrow, Fit Pro Connection retreat. I think I covered all the solicitation. All right, Charlene, and Sue, thank you so much. I think this has been just a really fun and informative chat. So thank you so much for taking the time, and thank you everybody who's been on the call. Thank you for the chats. I'll do a follow-up. Please, what else do you want to hear from us? What else do you want to see from us? You know, let us know. If you don't let us know in the chat, at least when I do the follow-up, I'll always answer you. Love to hear the feedback. Love to hear from everybody. So let's just check the chat real quick.